Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Lotus Life podcast. I'm psyched you're here yet again with me on this journey of free-flowing thoughts that has very little structure to it. I'm just grateful you're here, so grateful. And yes, I'm doing something new. Just like last week, I am now recording both my audio and video so that I can double dip and share a little bit for you in the podcast world, but then also share visually on YouTube so that you can digest information however you best digest it. So excited, and I hope you enjoy this. If so, for you YouTubers, give me a thumbs up, like whatever you got to do in YouTube to signal to me, I like this. Not keep doing it. I'll probably keep doing it either way, whether you like it or not. So never mind. But anyhow, welcome back. Oh my gosh. So my name is Kim Fisher, and just a tiny bit about me, because I realize I haven't intro too much about myself, but I've been in the yoga world teaching and practicing for 2 decades. And there was a brief moment where I was also a certified fitness instructor, and I did bodybuilding. I was in a bikini division, a bodybuilding show, did pretty well, got second place. But I love the body, and I love all things physical. Even as a young girl, I was always doing something outside. I was always involved in a sport, whether that was softball, volleyball, briefly did track and field. Turns out I suck at running. Never did swimming, although I was a lifeguard and taught little kids how to swim at one point. Ballet, loved ballet, but also was not very graceful, whatever. So I'm saying I was always have been into the body. And to me, the body just makes sense. The body is a safe place. And I love that I get to move my limbs. Like, I do not take it for granted that my legs work, that my arms work, that my body works well. I'm so grateful, and I love exploring that ability as often as I can. And it's part of the reason I think I've never stopped Hatha yoga. And then when I learned about what Hatha yoga really is, how it's more philosophy and the embodiment of concepts of the philosophy, such as being one with the moment, such as non-grasping and focus and meditation and connecting with others. That really was a part of yoga that I had no idea existed, and was taught to me by my teacher back in the day. It opened up my eyes and my heart to the full potential of yoga. And I've never looked back. And I briefly opened up and ran my own yoga studio, Lotus Life Yoga Center, back in the day, which had an incredible community. I talked a little bit about that in the very first episode of this podcast. But being an entrepreneur and being a business owner was not scary for me in the least. It was exhilarating. I loved it. But it was a challenge. And since then, I sold the business, went back to school, got a graduate degree, and now I'm working as a UX designer, which stands for user experience designer, at a local tech company. And it's a fabulous job. It's even more fabulous company. I'm very happy there, learning a lot about myself, learning a lot about, the non-yogi world, if you want to call it that. And it was a really hard 180 at first, but now, I'm used to it. I speak their lingo. I understand their language, the techie language. But, God, where the hell am I going with this? I warned you, this podcast is just going to be so not perfect, right? So if you're listening, you understand that. Oh yeah, I guess I just was going with it, like, everything that I've learned now up until this moment has showed me that my dharma, my path is totally 100% entrepreneurship. And even when I look back on my family's history, my lineage, my mom's side especially, loaded with entrepreneurs, like loaded. In my blood are risk takers. My blood, my DNA, we are go-getters. We are not afraid of putting ourselves out there and trying something new, and in starting up businesses in different capacities, and running the show, liking to be in places of leadership. And something that, even though that's inherent in me and in my background and my blood, what was not taught to me up until very recently was the power of goal setting and the power of doing it right. Now, I want to put right or correct in an asterisk here and italicized, because I think that right and correct is going to be subjective to some degree. You need to modulate things so that they fit your life and that they fit you, and you are actually progressing. Because what works for me and what I'm about to share in this podcast is what works for me, Kim Fisher. What I lay out, you might adapt most of it, but then you'll find, oh, you know what? Intuitively, I need to tweak this. And you should, because it is your life, your goals, and you get to say how you go after it. That is something that I've also just recently in the last 3 or 4 years of my life, is I get to say what is of value to me. I get to say how I go after it. And I get to say for how long I stay in one mode before something else would jump, right? Like, I give myself that power to do so. And that is part of the light of being an entrepreneur, being someone who's just like to hustle, right? Like, you get to say, you get to call the shots. But with that, I think comes a lot of uncertainty sometimes if we're not basing our decisions in actual goals that align to our sacred yes. We need to make sure that we are using that sword of discernment, as Sophia Tom says, that we're using our Durga energy to be discerning, to make sure that we're working on the right things at the right time. That's going to help you build confidence so that you'll look back and go, holy crap, should I be doing this? And you'll feel fear, but immediately stepping in to hold hands with your fear will be this piece of confidence. And it kind of swoops in and it goes, no, don't worry, you've done the work. You've already put this through the checks and balances. You've already aligned this with your body and it said yes. Everything said yes. You're safe. Keep going. And that's what I want to talk about with you today. And I want to give you 3 tips for how I approach goal setting and the reasons why I think they're successful. These 3 tips. Now, there are other tips, but I just thought the number 3 was kind of nice. So I want to just give you 3 to make it bite-sized for you. And, we'll start here. And then we'll explore taking action by other modes as we grow together. I also want to take a moment and just say that I'm still growing and I'm still figuring this out. Even though I've accomplished a lot in my almost 39 years on this planet, I feel like the last 2 years of my life has been like accelerated growth just by the people, just by my job, by the way, being a UX designer, learning the tech world and learning how to put everything in time boxes and learning how to quantify my goals there as a career, but also learning how to be more discerning in my business, how to run a company, how to show up for myself based on clarity and based on my highest yes, and how to guide others and usher other people along with me, right? So the clearer I get in my goals, the clearer other people are to know that, yeah, they're with me or no, they're not. And so if you're a yoga teacher or you're any type of instructor watching this, that's really important to understand, is the clearer you get, like the why set goals, why be discerning. It's not selfish. If you ever get caught in that path of thinking that like, oh, this is too much me, you really need to take yourself out of it really fast, because it's not about you. It's ultimately about you being this beacon, like a billboard. The clearer you get with your signal and the more you say it, repetition and consistency build a brand. And what is a brand? It's a signal. You're a beacon. You keep sending out the same signals all the time. And what's going to happen is eventually you cut through noise. everyone, including the universe, is just so busy, right? There's so much going on. And so if you want clarity and you want to receive your goals, you want to access them now, you need to be consistent and clear. And we're going to cover that, how to be consistent and clear in these 3 goals and these 3 tips I'm going to give you. But I'm also just relating it to being a yoga instructor as well, because if you're clear, your students will be clear. If you're discerning, your students will be discerning. You get the energy you put out. And so it's really important that you pause, that you do this work, that you dive deep and take the time to really set clear goals and consistently work toward them, whether that's an audience on Instagram, or you're building your following in your community for your yoga studio or your gym or whatever, or you're speaking directly to spirit, God, or the universe about what you want. Universe still needs your clear and consistent message. It needs your clear and consistent asks, and it needs you to be clear and consistently show up for yourself. So these 3 steps are going to help you achieve that. All right, let's get in to number 1. Ready? Okay. I even took some notes here so that I don't get off track. Number 1, okay? Routine it. Make it a routine. Some of you know I'm huge on morning rituals. I call them my radical rituals because they have radically transformed my life. No bullshit. So fucking powerful. I decided that the time I was wasting by sleeping in the morning was just eating away at the time I could have been doing something great. So I'll say that a different way. So I used to be someone who slept until like 6:30, and like that was early for me. And like every now and again, I'd get up at 5 or 5:30, but it would be exhausting, or it would feel kind of bleh, and like, oh, I got up so early, and maybe I just like rolled out of bed and like chugged some pre-workout and got the workout in, and it was like an aggressive start to the day, which is not fun for me. And so no habits were built. Now I get up at 5 or 5:30 every single day, sometimes even on the weekends, because I love it. I feel the power and have been feeling the power of awakening early, gracefully and lovingly starting my day, focusing on the values I want to bring to my life and to others' life. And because it's early in the morning, my brain isn't quite fully awake yet. And so the chatter, the worries, the concerns aren't there in the same way as they would be as if I tried to do my ritual at like 2 p.m. or worse when I'm tired and I have no mental reserve. And so all my negativity or all my concerns or all my overwhelm can creep in later in the day. So I hit it early and I'm clear and I'm repetitive. One is just a beautiful time for me. So if you're busy, if you have kids, get up early. Do it for you. Your family is relying on you. They're gonna be blessed by your sacrifices, and you're not even gonna see them as sacrifices. Trust me. You're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm so productive before 8 a.m. now. I've charted out my whole day. I've looked at my whole month. I've done all these cool things. Maybe I've even gone for a walk, connected with my pet, went outside in nature. Like, you're going to be blown away by what you can accomplish before noon every single day, that like, you're going to be like, holy shit, think where I could have been now if I started this 3 years ago, even if I started this 6 months ago. Holy shit. And that's so true. It's so true. Like 6 months from now, if you start doing morning rituals, you are going to be blown away by what you are accomplishing. And not only that, how you feel about your accomplishments. And I'll get to that in a second. I want to hit one more time on routine and ritual and bring in some neuroscience here. So you may have remembered from an earlier podcast that I have spent a little bit of time during my undergrad research in cognitive neuroscience lab. I have always, even went to nursing school for 10 weeks before, but before that did anatomy and physiology classes. And I consistently am reading about the brain and even wanted to get my PhD in neuroscience, but didn't, but I still am nerding hard for the brain. And so I say that just to let you know that I've got a lot of background in it. And here's what I've learned about the brain. here's the thing I've learned about the brain. Here's one tiny thing I've learned. And it has to do with contextual experiences. So if you want to activate your brain to help you build healthy habits, there's a couple things you need to do. One, you need to enjoy the experience because that gives you a hit of dopamine. And dopamine is a neurotransmitter that helps us to feel very in love and happy and excited, yay, about whatever you're doing, whether it's chocolate, gambling, sex, drugs, Doritos, yoga, like whatever brings you joy. Literally, your brain does not discriminate. It's just like, oh, I just got hit of dopamine. We're going to seek that behavior out again because that was awesome. So don't worry too much about, I got to force it. I got to work at this. Focus on the pleasure state. If you can bring yourself into states of pleasure in whatever you're doing, okay, whatever you're doing, and I mean that, you will have a better chance, higher probability at creating a habitual blueprint in the brain. The other piece of this is the context. So it's important to pick the same spot or at least the same objects to do your ritual. I have colored markers that I always use. I have a journal, a day planner. I have music that I use with my headphones. I have all of these ritualistic items that go into like the ceremony of my ritual. I have Natalia Benson, what are these female women empowerment cards that I'll pull in the morning and to help give me extra ideas on what I'm not thinking about and help me stay open-minded to other ways of thinking about my day. All of these are tools which help trigger to my brain that the ritual is about to begin. So what that means is that now when I just see the objects in the middle of the day, my brain has been trained to go, oh, those are her ritual objects, and then hit a dopamine because I've made it pleasurable. Do you see where I'm getting at? You got to connect the dots. That the objects that are around you are the things that help you move that needle, that help you achieve your goals. That's important because in the middle of the day when you're feeling stressed or irritated or tired, by seeing those objects, you're going to have a higher chance of getting that dopamine hit. Not only that, but like reminding yourself that, hey, this is something that you need to be doing. Don't forget, I see my day planner and my brain goes, hey, don't forget you have goals. Hey, don't forget you're heading in a great direction. Hey, don't forget what you visualized in the morning. And then I can recreate somewhat those feelings and experiences right there in that moment. And so it's a lovely way to kind of keep exercising the feelings of joy and the feelings of success, which I'm going to talk about more in just a minute, as your day goes on, which is just further beating that drum of like, these are my goals. These are my goals. These are my goals. I'm experiencing them now. I'm experiencing them now. I'm experiencing them now. Now. Okay. So we want tools. We want these objects around us because it helps the brain connect with the thoughts and emotions to the things in our lives. Think about if any of you have ever tried stopping smoking cigarettes. I used to smoke all the time. Yes, that might be surprising. I loved cigarettes. But I eventually stopped. But that process of quitting was so tough. And what I found, so what I used to do is I used to walk from where I worked across the street to this local pizza shop on my lunch break, and I'd get garlic pizza, and then a Dr. Pepper, I believe. And then I would smoke inside the restaurant. Like, you could do that back in the day. So it seems so crazy to talk about that right now. I'm like, who used to smoke? Me? What? Who? That's so crazy. But I did. And what I realized was that I had created not only a habit of smoking on my lunch break, but it was the trigger of going into that restaurant. It was the trigger of smelling that pizza. It was the trigger of having that, like that Dr. Pepper. I couldn't do those things anymore because as soon as I would do those things, I would want a cigarette. And so here I am trying to quit. I can't go. So I had to stop completely going to that restaurant. That was so hard because on lunchtime you could just see the smoke coming out the chimney of all the pizza that they were cooking and smell it in the air, and it would trigger a desire. That's because your brain is going, hey, that smell, that means cigarette time. And we like dopamine, right? Dopamine hit. Or it's going, oh, see that sign? That's the restaurant. You go in and you smoke cigarettes, and that's dopamine, and that's a hit. And oh my God, like we're going through withdrawal. So you see, it's the context, it's the place, it's the smells, it's the sounds. The context is just as important as the thoughts and emotions that you're having. And it's especially important that you create the same routine over and over again so that your brain builds confidence and can quickly get you to that state because it's already used to the context. Think about like the process of learning to play, I don't know, an instrument, or I'm thinking about training for the Spartan that Brandon and I did a couple years ago. Like the context, it wasn't just things got easier because we got stronger, like lifting up sandbags and pulling heavy weights and walking up and down stairs and throwing spears into the snow outside, like all the things we did to prep. It wasn't just that doing it more got us stronger and the skill became easier because we got stronger. It was also because I got used to my shoes that I put on, which were the shoes I was going to be racing in, which are trail shoes. It was also because I got used to the environment running outside of the snow. We were doing the Spartan in the wintertime. It was also because I got used to my team members and got to know their names and started to build camaraderie. So again, it's the entire thing. What's around you, what you're smelling, what you're listening to, all of which are going to help accelerate your success. Okay. That's number one. Number two, start small at first. Most people pick these huge ass goals and nothing's medium and nothing's small. And then they just head for that big goal. And then what happens when you got these giant goals? You don't achieve them, right? Or it takes much longer than you thought. And that seems, we interpret that wrong most of the time. And we think, oh my God, it's not happening right now. It should have been happening right now. This is my timeline. This is what I wrote down, this huge goal in this short amount of time. It's not happening. Therefore, what? I failed. I must be a failure. And then your brain goes, see, I told you you couldn't do this. I need to plug in my laptop right now. So I'm going to keep talking. No, I'm not. No, I'll get through this by the time my 20% battery is almost done. Let's just keep rolling here. Right. And then your brain goes, you failed. I told you, you're a failure. You're a loser. You can't do these things. Why did you even try? And then boop, we're back into that negative loop. We're back into that story we tell ourselves of that we're not good enough, we don't have the right credentials enough, or someone else needs to validate us first, that someone else is already doing it, so why should we? Whatever that story is that you tell yourself, the reasons you can't do something or shouldn't start, they creep back in. So my advice, and something that I do, is I start very small. I look at the whole goal, yeah, the big picture for sure. My God, that's very important, but I'm not going to start with that. I'm going to set myself up for failure. And what I really want to do here is build confidence. Confidence fuels momentum, and momentum fuels confidence. We have a positive feedback loop there. So in order to start with confidence, I need to do something small that has a higher success rate, meaning I will have a higher probability of achieving that small goal, because that's what I need. I need to know I can do this, and I need to have proof I can do this, and I need to keep doing it every day. So I also need something that's sustainable. So what I'm really saying to you is you got to pick low resistance goals at first. So for example, if you're thinking that you want to start a cookbook, I know one of my friends wants to start either like an online cooking website or some sort of cooking blog, or she maybe an e-cookbook or an actual physical cookbook. So instead of just thinking, I'm going to jump to a physical cookbook, what I would suggest to her, and I have already, is like, hey, so get a website going, start a blog. And even smaller than that is start an Instagram, which is what she's doing. That's kind of a website in a way for you. Set yourself up with your camera, get your tripod, get your ring light, and just start talking to the camera and do some live stuff. Practice. And then cross that off, because you are moving the needle. That is a goal accomplished. I posted a cooking video of me online. By the way, that's Jackie Adamo. I'm just going to give her a shout out right here. Jacqueline Adamo. Go, Jackie. We're so proud of you. Yay. But she's doing that right now. She's posting videos online, and sometimes they're crooked. So she's figuring it out as she goes, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. Oh my God. You know what? I'm going to add that in. That's point 4. I'm jumping right over 3, going right to point 4 here. It does not need to be perfect. Just fucking do the thing. Forget about perfection. No one gives a shit about your perfection anyhow. And most of the times you don't want it. We want to see you mess up because it shows you're human, and we like humans. Human like human. Human likey. Okay. I have no idea why I'm using that voice right now, but we'll just go with it. That's really important, okay? Because people enjoy that. It shows your realness and people connect more. The other part, I have another friend whose name I will not mention. She wants to open up a business, and she's got the physical location. She's ready to pull the trigger, but she's not sure yet because she doesn't want to juggle her full-time job with her new job. Understandably so. There's a lot of energy that requires in a startup business. So I suggested, she wants to open up a coffee shop, by the way. And so I suggested to her, hey, instead of going straight for square footage and actual brick and mortar location, what about a bar cart? What about a coffee cart? And just move it around town and start to get a name for yourself and start to just build a following. And then you don't have those overhead costs. You can set your own hours much easier. And that allows you to be mobile, obviously, and you can go to weddings, graduations, food shows, all these cool things, right? So hopefully she'll take that advice and go for that. I think that's a great, great thing, and we'll keep the overhead really low. But even before that, maybe she starts to design her logo and she just starts to sketch. Because what you're going to find is that the smallest thing is building success. You do not have to do the biggest thing in order to feel successful. Small things add up. And what you want to do is build confidence. So you do something small, you feel really good, you're going to check that off the next day. Do again, something different, but something small. Do it, check it off, you feel good. Something small the next day, check it off, you feel good. Check it off, you feel good. Check it off, you feel good. That becomes your routine. And before you know it, within 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, you look back at your journal and you have come so far because you're measuring your progress. Otherwise, you're going to get lost, or you're going to go too big of a goal and you're going to set yourself up for failure. Okay? All right, the third thing is be able to recognize. This is so important. So I'm going to slow it down for a bit. Let these words land. Be able to recognize the feelings of success. Oh, God, I say that and my gut just like fluttered. It was like, fuck yeah, because no one knows how to teach that to you. And I could tell you what my feeling of success is like, and you'll kind of get it. but I'm talking about the feeling in your body, not the words about success. I feel proud. I feel accomplished. I feel blah, blah, blah. I mean your actual visceral response, your somatic response in your body. And the way you practice this is by doing visualization techniques. You sit down in the morning and you think back about a time in which you achieved something that you're proud of. And you bring back all of the details. What were you wearing? How was your hair? What was the temperature of the room like? Who else was there with you? Were you in a room? How big? How small? What were the details? And you bring it back as vividly as possible so you feel like you're there again. Then you remember, you recall how you were feeling then. And however you were feeling then about your proud accomplishment, you feel it now. You feel it now. You bring up the feelings of success right now. You breathe into it. And you notice where it settles. Is it in the chest? Is it in the stomach? Is it in your arms? Is it in your legs? Is it in the perineum and in the root chakra area? Is it up in the throat? Wherever. Feel it in your body. And then start to recognize that that is the feeling of success. That is your feeling of yes in your body. This is important not to bypass this because this will become very valuable. When you are making a decision, you need to be discerning. What are you going to use to be discerning? Your mind, yes, but you also need something else very important. That's your body. Your body holds the keys to the kingdom of consent. Mind gives you the idea about what to do. Body gives you consent that yes, we should do it, or no, we should not. Body gives you consent. Do I feel safe? Or don't I? Okay? This is why it's really important to understand and recognize the feeling of yes inside your body, the feeling of consent and power and fuck yeah inside your body, because when the time comes and you need to make a decision to be discerning, to live your highest yes, you will have already established a relationship to it. And so when you feel it, you're going to know, yes, this is the move to make. Yes, this is success. This is success. This is what I felt before when I did my visualization. And I remember that amazing thing from the past. Here it is again. Holy shit. That must mean I'm doing successful things now. Yeah. And then we can start to celebrate in the moment, in the now. And that's where you really start to unlock things. That's where momentum starts to build in exponential ways. Because what you're doing is linking past success to the now. And then when you're in the future, in a couple days from now, a couple weeks, a couple months from now, tomorrow even, and you have a moment where you feel that same experience, your brain is going to go, whoa, hold up. That's what you just recognized the other day as success. Girl, this is a moment right now where you are stepping into power. You are stepping into that proud moment. Feel it. And then what's going to happen is you're going to feel it more. Little moments, medium moments, big moments, doesn't matter. They are all going to start to point towards success, because what I have found is that success is not always these huge waves of emotion. Success sometimes is soft and gentle. Ooh, with this oozing knowing, this stuff of knowing inside of your body that you have just touched down and united with relationship of yes and love and confidence and sacredness inside of you. Sometimes it's, oh my God, fireworks, fuck yeah, feelings. And then other times it's really just like, wow, I'm doing it. This is amazing. Okay, so be aware that it can be very soft and refined, as well as these big, gross, tactile experiences as well. Okay, so there you have it. 1, 2, 3, and I even gave you a bonus fourth one being not perfect. Let's recap. 1, make a routine of it. Your brain needs to feel dopamine, and you need those objects to trigger that you're about to do or soon will be doing your routines, so that you get that hit of dopamine and joy and enter into pleasure states more frequently throughout your day to build habits. Habits. Start small too. Start small at first so you don't set yourself up to fucking fail like you've always been doing. Start small. Start small. Bite-sized pieces to move that needle and do something every single day. Don't stop. Successful people just never stop. That's the only difference. Hello. I'm removing the veil to show you right now. The difference between successful and non-successful people is successful people, I can't even get off fast enough, never stopped moving. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. 3, recognize the feeling of success in your body. Recognize it now. It could be soft, it can be medium, and it can be really large. But start to tune in to your body to feel what your sacred yes is like, and you will see it take off for you and show up in every single situation. Because you're going to start to see that, yeah, you're pretty fucking awesome. And everything you do is amazing, okay? And then you can start to experience it with other people too, and that's when it gets really cool. And the 4th one is, doesn't have to be perfect. Just do the thing. Don't worry about perfection. Does not have to be when someone gives you validation. It does not have to be when you get some extra degree. It can be now. Whatever woke you up, whatever you're passionate about, that's enough. It's enough. And you can do this. Whatever it is you need to take action on. I believe in you. I believe in you, and more importantly, you believe in you. And if you don't yet, you're going to now after doing those 4 things, I promise you. Expect big things because it's about to happen for you. You guys, thank you so very much for listening to this podcast. I am stoked and so grateful that you're here with me. And I hope this helps and served in some way. Thank you, everyone. And I will see you next time.